welcome to this special edition of Shed Talk. And can I start by wishing everybody out there a very, very Merry Christmas to you and all of your family. Well, this video is going to be looking back over 2020 and what a year that's been. I don't think any of us at the beginning of the year would have expected that this year to have turned out quite the way it did. I hope you've managed to stay safe throughout this period, and if nothing else, it's given you some more time to look at and enjoy your birds. Well, January 2020 got off to its normal start for me with the AGM of the Oxford 1910 Cage Bird Society. I was very fortunate that the members yet again voted me in as their chairman. It's a real honour to serve the members of Oxford 1910. It's an absolutely splendid club. And I was also very fortunate to pick up an award at the AGM. So, and the award was for the Budgerigar Monthly Points, which is points awarded to the various competitions we hold throughout the year at our monthly meetings, so not including the main shows. So yes, very fortunate that I managed to pick up that award yet again. February saw the first of the 1910 club shows. As always, that very first show in February is the annual stock show, which is just a chance for members to get their birds out, or get a few birds out right at the beginning of the year, just to I suppose dust things down and get ready for the new upcoming show season. How many of us would have thought at that very first show that it would be the last show for the year, which was a real shame for all of us, I suppose, missing those shows. So just to give us a chance to see what we missed, here's a quick look at the stock show for Oxford 1910. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Any of the clips that I show in this special, I'll put a link to the actual video across the top of the screen. So it's up there at the moment, so if you want to watch the full video, do click on the link. Perhaps you can wait until the end though and click through afterwards once we've watched the whole of the video. Well, we came into March, still particularly unaware of exactly what was going to happen at the end of March when the full lockdown happened. And March was one of those monthly meetings, which was the Butler Trophy. one of the things I really do like about being a member of a caged bird society, and particularly the Oxford 1910 Caged Bird Society, is you get to see far more birds than you would do if you were just a member of a specialist a club, like a specialist budgerigar club or whatever. So with a caged bird society, the members breed all sorts of birds, and as always the Butler Trophy brought all of those out. And we were very fortunate that Chris Green came along to judge that particular meeting and spoke very well about all the various birds that were on show. So here's a quick clip from the Butler Trophy. That and all the various different birds that were on show. Chris Green, as always, such a knowledgeable person. I can listen to him all day, and it's a real pleasure to have him talk about the various birds that were on show and his understanding of them. Well, the end of March brought a complete change, didn't it? Suddenly, at least over here in the UK, we were all expected to work from home and to try and work through what that meant. So, no more meetings, and no more chance to get out and talk to our friends and colleagues about the birds. Getting used to the working from home became a real challenge, I expect, like the rest of you, particularly for me, which meant that not very much happened between April and July. I was finishing off breeding the birds. It did give me a little bit more time in here, and I began to think about the shed and what I could do in it. As we got used to working from home in July, I started to think about whether or not I could produce my own videos of my own shed. And that's what I did, and that's how the birth of Shed Talk took place. The first of those videos came out in August, and really it was just me finding my feet, I suppose. There was a little bit about some of the birds that I had and that I'd been breeding, and there was a focus on me breeding a new, or rather me building a new half-flight. So let's have a quick look at some of the clips from that very first video. So that's the various sheds, the small shed that we visited first of all, and the bit of the garage that's been converted to hold the birds. In here we have electric lighting and heating, a bit like in the a small shed up the garden. The only problem with the garage is there is no natural daylight, and perhaps I can talk about that, or what I'm doing about that in the a future. Brings back some memories, that very first video, and again, if you haven't watched it, please do click on the link and you can see the entire very first video of Shed Talk, I suppose, how it all got going. And that moved us into September, and in September I was thinking about the various shows that we have, and there were lots of people posting pictures of birds on Facebook and on the various social media, and it got me to thinking about a couple of birds in my particular shed that I didn't manage to get out last year because they were in the breeding cages, for 2019 that is, and I'd have really loved to have got them out on the show bench. So there were two birds in particular, and I asked you to choose which one you thought you would most miss getting out on the show bench. So here's a quick look at those two birds. So these are the two birds I wanted to have a look at. On the left is the normal grey, and on the right is a yellow face sky blue dominant pied cinnamon. And I really wanted to think about which of these two I most missed getting out on the show bench this year due to the lockdown. Both of these birds have been in the breeding cage. The one on the left, so the grey, produced far more young than the right. I think we spoke a little bit about the one on the right in the last video, the yellow-faced sky blue dominant pied. Neither of them are performing particularly well at the moment, although the grey is settling in a bit now. Of the two, the one I would really wish I'd managed to get out is the grey on the left. I'll just try and focus in on that grey a little bit more now. When I put this grey in the breeding cage at the beginning of the year, it was ranked probably about third or fourth of my birds in my shed. Of course, the yellow face has now decided to go to sleep. But as the year went on, I got more and more like this bird more and more. And now I would say this is probably going to turn out to be amongst the best in my. And so into October, which was for me was all about assessing the birds and starting to think about pairing them up. I went through a full assessment of how I do that in my particular shed, and we also had the first Shed Talk special, which gave you an opportunity to choose the partner for a cockbird that was going to be my pair for. So let's have a quick look at those two videos and the bird that you chose for them. So let's begin by looking at pair one. So the cockbird for pair one is the grey on the left hand side as you look at it, so the normal grey. And as you probably know, he came out top in terms of all of my birds. Recently, in both Cage and Aviary Birds, which is a weekly magazine for the fancy, or a weekly paper for the fancy here in the UK, there was a discussion about pairing cock to cock rather than pairing cock to hen. And then there was an online discussion recently, I think it was in one of the Exhibition Budgerigar Forum online discussions, where this idea of pairing cock to cock was further explored. And what it actually means when we're talking about pairing cock to cock is we look for a cockbird that complements the cockbird you're looking to pair. So in this case, when I looked at my score sheet from the previous video, or a video a couple of videos ago, the cockbird on the right, who's actually it looks like they're pairing up in there anyway already, doesn't it? Came out, scored high in the areas where the bird on the left scored lowly. So I thought I'd have a look at him, and then the idea is you then look at a close relative to that bird. And the close relative to that bird is a sister, and I will show you the sister now of hers. However, given the qualities of the light green cinnamon cock, I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to see what happens if I decide to pair that grey into this yellow face normal grey. So that's my plan, to see whether cock to cock pairings work. So I'll just put the two greys together and then we'll have a look at them together. Well, November was all about updating you on how the breeding season was going, or not, as we found out. The trials and tribulations of the shed continued, with birds laying eggs, eggs being clear, eggs being eaten. Well, here's a quick look at the frustrating time it was November. So here we are, we've got the nest box out. Just to let you know, I know that all of these eggs, or virtually all of them I'm sure, are clear. There was one that's just been laid, so I'm not too worried about using this as a demonstration because they are all clear. I think you remember I said maybe at the beginning of the video that you can so often tell whether an egg is clear just from the colour, and I think you can see that at least 3 of the eggs are dull and going and greyish. So this egg, this one and this one, so actually egg 1, 2 and 3 are dull and grey. So, and they look lifeless, so I could look in that box and be reasonably sure that those 3 eggs are definitely clear. As I say, the 4th egg, this egg here, has only just been laid, so it's freshly laid today, so so I don't know about that one, and it's literally a matter of shining it there, and I don't know if you can see that, but the egg there is, you can see a yellow bit. What I'm going to do is get the egg out and just show you that in a bit more detail in a second, but you can see that that's clear, and that one there again is reasonably is clear. So there's the egg, and if I put the torch behind it like this, I'm sure you can see that you can see that it's shining through, and there's yellow, the yellow of the yolk. Given how old this egg is, so this egg is way over 4 days old, you would expect if that was to be fertile, you'd begin to see the veins in there, and maybe even see the developing heart beating away. So definitely clear, no sign of any veins there. So that egg there, egg 3, is a... So that brings us into December, and December is a time for giving and reflecting back over the year. And it gave me a chance in particular to take a couple of birds back to an old friend of mine who had a few years ago lent me a very nice looking yellow face that had formed the basis of most of the yellow faces within my stock. So a chance to give something back to him, which is the way the hobby works. It also gave me a bit of new hope in that we had our first full eggs, and lo and behold, those first full eggs were in the pair that you had chosen. So let's bring us right up to date. Showing really well and was bouncing in the flight, so I would recommend that we get that one in the breeding cage reasonably quickly. And the other one at the back is a grey dominant pied, and the only thing wrong with this bird, and when I looked at it in the rundown, was I didn't think the wing carriage was particularly well. Otherwise it's quite a nice looking bird, and there's grown a little bit since we did the assessment. So there we go, those are the 2 birds. Like I say, you need to get them in the car, whiz them on up to Reading and hand them over to their new home. I'm hoping you can see the obvious veins there to show that that egg there is clearly a full egg. Well, there we are. That's the year in a glance for me. All I can do now is take this opportunity to wish you all a very happy new year. I do hope that 2021 is going to be a bit less stressful than 2020, and we'll all have a chance to get back out, meet up actually in person, and get out to a few shows and get those clubs up and running again. But until then, Happy New Year. Please do stay safe, and enjoy your birds.